Hi everyone, welcome to this talk. I don't know. I This is either a 50-50. This is a 50-50 topic, okay? It's either you really are interested in or you just have zero interest. I mean, who knows, right? Just because yeah, you will understand why in like the next 10 minutes or so. Okay. Yeah, anyway, I am Marklin. I am a photographer in LightedPixel Pixies. Okay, LightedPixel Pixies is a wedding photography company. We have been around for about 10, 11 years or so. Okay, no, I'm not the founder. Okay, the founder is this guy called Kelvin. Kelvin, he's also the founder of LightedPixels Photography. I am simply helping to manage this team here at LightedPixels Pixies. Okay, so in Pixies itself, there is myself, Marklin, and there is also another photographer called KC. KC as in the initials, the K and C. Yeah, so both of us are shooting a lot of weddings. Actually, 85 to 90% of our works are weddings, and the remaining will be either I wouldn't say either. I think most of it is actually taken up by family photography, which saw a surge ever since circuit breaker started. So yeah, we do shoot a lot of families recently also, but our main gig is still weddings. By weddings, we do mean everything from like pre-wedding to wedding day to even post-wedding and maternity in that sense. So it's kind of like a journey with us with the couples, okay, from us with the couples. So just today, like this morning, I shot my ex-couple who recently had a kid who is turning 1 years old. Yeah, so I mean it's very nice to reconnect with people like that, right? Okay. Sorry, I tend to blabber a bit too much also, which you will realize, okay, and I apologize for that. But today we're just gonna talk about what to consider when planning for your overseas pre-wedding. Okay. Yeah, to be honest, it is such a broad topic that I don't even know where to start. Okay, simply because there are so much things to talk about, okay? Yeah, but I mean just thinking about it kind of excites me, to be very honest with you, because uh I cannot wait to hit the skies again, to be very honest with you. I cannot wait to set foot in some other soil other than Singapore, even in like Malaysia. Yeah, I'm just very, very much looking forward to like just taking a road trip up north, right? Just going there, shoot some landscapes, shoot some people, shoot some night skies, and just kind of get out of Singapore. Cabin fever is real, right? Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So this topic, if it really interests you, I think it will be quite beneficial for you. Speaking from someone who have done a number of overseas pre-weddings as of now. So being a wedding photographer for 6 years now, I've had the chance to travel around for pre-weddings, which I'm very thankful for, because I do get to explore a lot of like different places, different cultures, um, things to look out for when going overseas for pre-weddings, and yeah, and this kind of like little tips and tricks that I'll be sharing with you. So all these are actually based on real experiences. Okay. Okay, yeah, okay, first things first. Obviously, you must know where you want to go, right, for your overseas pre-wedding. So, like, I'm talking about pre-pandemic now, okay? So, pre-pandemic, places like Paris, places like Iceland, Japan, Taiwan, Batam, Bintan, Maldives, New Zealand, Australia. So all these are kind of like the usual suspects. Oh yeah, Santorini too. These are like the usual suspects for pre-wedding, overseas pre-wedding photography. Okay, yeah, it's obviously, I mean, all these kind of places, people who inquire about such places, they either really have very fond memories of that place, either they like for London especially. We have a lot of inquiries for people who actually have studied there and just want to head back for a shoot. So people who studied and met there even, yeah, and they kind of like fell in love, and their whole journey started there, and they came back to Singapore after and decide to, just head back to London for a pre-wedding, right? Kind of makes sense, especially even more so when they apply for a permit to shoot in the school where they met, right? So yeah, permit is one thing that I will touch on later. Okay, so places like Japan, okay, very simply put, Sakura season is like the most highly sought after season to know when to head over to Japan for a pre-wedding, just because everything is so romantic, like so pastel-y, so just very out of this world, right? So Japan, just think about it for a moment, okay? Like in April, you'll be heading over to Japan with your photographer, with your videographer, with your makeup artist, right? And before you even go, okay, there are so many things to consider. First, okay, how many gowns are you gonna bring? Okay, so this is something you will have to decide on. Bringing one gown is good. I mean, it's light, it's easy to carry, it can fit in one luggage. The bridal studio, the gown designer will probably be able to pack it down for you and teach you how to pack, and just ship it off to maybe even Japan for you. If not, you just have to hand carry it. Okay, but yeah, just think about this. How many extra luggages are you going to bring, or are you willing to bring, for the to like not impose too much of a fee? So basically, to find a right balance between like paying too much for luggages, for extra baggages, and also to have a decent number of like gowns and photos, right? So usually people will think about like one white gown and one evening gown. So evening can be like any color, really is up to your liking, but the more popular ones will be blue or red color. So there is actually I've actually shot a bride in New Zealand who wore green, and that was honestly so nice, just because it's something that not many people will wear, and it really stood out in New Zealand. But okay, anyway, sorry. Back to Japan. Yeah, just think about like how many gowns you want to bring first, okay? And secondly, we can move on to like after gown will be makeup artist. Okay, let's think about makeup artist for a moment. Makeup artist is less tricky if you are in, say, an Asian country, and I'm speaking to an Asian crowd now, right? So if you're an Asian and you travel to an Asian country, I wouldn't be as worried. I wouldn't say worry, but wouldn't be as nitpicky in that sense to find the makeup artist, because you can either fly from Singapore, okay, or you could hire a local one over in Japan. I think just because of our skin color, an Asian makeup artist will better suit your face for the brides out there, simply because Asian makeup artists will know Asian faces better. It's just like how Caucasian makeup artists will know the fairer skins better, right? Yeah, so this is one very important thing you have to consider. Flying a makeup artist to wherever you are flying to incur extra cost. Is it something that you are willing to spend a bit more on? If you ask me personally, yes, because once you have a makeup artist come along, the makeup artist will probably be there for the entire shoot. Like if your shoot is like 3 days long, the makeup artist will probably be there 3 days, and you can ensure that almost every other shot your makeup artist will be there to ensure that you look your best, right? So yeah, this is a very huge plus point going overseas for your pre-wedding shoot. So that is something that you should consider, I feel, okay? But yeah, so makeup artist is that, okay? If let's say again focusing on Japan, florist, okay, are you gonna, okay, this one I would normally recommend my couples to just buy a bouquet from online in Japan and just collect it on that day of or the day before the shoot or when you touch down. Okay, this one I'll give you a real life scenario that happened to me and one of my couples when we flew over to New Zealand a few years ago. Okay, yeah, things to consider also, like for the grooms, how many suits are you bringing? Okay, like is there only going to be a one piece suit, two piece, three piece? How many jackets, how many colors are there? Yeah, so all these you have to consider, and how are you going to press the suit over, how are you going to ensure that the suit will maintain, um, yeah, will still look neat when you pack everything up. Okay, so yeah, this one have to consider also. Then let's move on to what else. Okay, when you are in Japan transport, okay, Japan transport is not as difficult, okay, because the Shinkansen, the trains are so efficient. You're essentially like, yeah, you there's essentially nothing to worry about. Okay, so when we shoot pre-weddings in Japan, for the convenience, okay, we will usually hire a car. Okay, we will rent a car, sorry, not hire a car, we will rent a car, and we will just drive around. Usually there will be two cars, like one for like myself and the makeup artist, and also one for yourselves, like the couples. But obviously we all can squeeze together in one big MPV per se, right? We could all do that, but if, let's say, it just so happens that we are all so unlucky that the car breaks down and there's nowhere else for another car, there's nowhere to, yeah, nowhere to go and call for help. But I wouldn't worry as much if you're in Japan, right? So yeah, that's also something to consider. Yeah, and Japan, you will have to have an international driving license. So you will have to go and apply in Singapore for the international driving permit, if I'm not wrong. That's what it's called. It's $20, okay? And you have to show that in Japan to rent a car. If you don't show that, you cannot rent any car. So that's something to consider. So always do your due research and study a lot about their culture, okay? So culture is the next thing I want to talk about. It's very important. So for example, if you fly like to Japan, they're a bit more conservative, right? So if you're like in front of like the temples, the shrines and all, right, I personally don't find it very appropriate to do kissing shots, just because it is out of respect. Okay, but yeah, even if there's no restrictions, and if there's no restrictions and couples really want it, then yeah, sure, fine, by all means go ahead, right? But yeah, do observe this kind of like cultures and things that will be an eyesore for the locals wherever you go. Okay, so yeah, okay, let's move on to, let's say, um Santorini. Okay, Santorini, let's think about Santorini for a while. Okay, so you fly into, like, say, maybe you fly into London, then you take a domestic flight into Santorini, right? Okay, Santorini, you will have to get around by car for sure, because there is no public transport there. So what you have to do is, once you touch down, you will definitely have to go and rent a car already, and it will always be better to rent like separate cars, okay, in Santorini, just because if you rent, Santorini is like a place of like, I wouldn't really say wilderness, but there's a lot of like raw spots, okay, like undeveloped spots. And if, say, you rent a comfortable Mini Cooper, right, the one that you can just bring down and enjoy the breeze and all, and the wind in your face and all, right, yeah, it will look so good in photos already, right? So you can just find an empty road, park there, do your pre-wedding there with the car, and it will just look so nice. So that's one thing to consider also. Santorini, you will definitely need a car to get around, so that is one thing that you will need. if you're ever thinking of going Santorini. Santorini, if let's say we are traveling into Santorini, we rented our car, okay, the next thing we will go is accommodation. Okay, then you have to find out from your photographer or videographer or whoever you're bringing over whether their package includes their accommodation. Okay, so if let's say your shoot is 3 days long, okay, usually for me we don't include the accommodation in the package. Okay, so this is all separately charged. Okay, it's up to like the couples and the photographers agreement on how it will be divided. Okay, sometimes couples will pay for us for however long our shoot is. So if we have decided that going to Santorini is a 3 day shoot, okay, it's part of the package, it's a 3 day shoot, then couples who are willing to cover like the whole 3 day 2 nights accommodation, yeah, then we'll do it. If not, we'll split it. Yeah, but my piece of advice is always to stay together with the videographer or the photographer or with the couple. Okay, so if you're flying say to Santorini, yeah, maybe just stay together, just because it will always be so much more fun to grow together. And trust me on this, like if you stay in an Airbnb and everyone just eats together, bond together, sleep together, yeah, it will just make the whole shoot so much more meaningful and so much more on a personal level. It's not, at the end of the day, or even maybe even like after the first day, right? Most of the time, like maybe 100% of the time, it doesn't even feel like I'm hired to do that shoot anymore. It's more like, oh, hey guys, you should check this place out because this place is so nice. It's so famous for like their eggs Benedict or something like that. Or this place is so cool. We should go and check it out. Like, yeah, you become like a tour guide. I mean, like I become like a tour guide of sorts, right? Yeah, and that is always so exciting to introduce places to people. And if like, obviously, like London, if my couples that have actually grew up in London or have studied there and stuff like that, then they will introduce me to like London and like the little places, the little secret things that only locals will know, and I'll be so excited also. So it's like a two-way street. Yeah, and yeah, accommodation. So that's accommodation. So just think about it. I know some couples are just not comfortable. They need their own space and all to recharge for the night, because they prefer to not sleep with someone else, and that's perfectly fine with us also, but just have to iron this out with your photographer before your flyover. Okay, so yeah, accommodation is one thing, transport is the other thing. Okay, that has been said. Okay, then you have to think about how long your shoot is also with your photographer. Think about like, if we go to this place, how long will the shoot be? If we go to that place, I mean that country, how long will the shoot be? Because for me, the ASEAN countries will always have shorter shoots, just because everything is so much more accessible. Like if you fly to Japan, is probably lesser worry as compared to like flying to Iceland, right? Just because Iceland is so far away, and if anything goes wrong, yeah, there is no makeup for it, you see. So yeah, just have to find out what the package of your photographer is first. All right, then moving on. You have to decide what time you're going to shoot, what time your makeup artist arrives, if your makeup artist is a local. If not, I usually work with a few makeup artists also. Then we will all travel together, we'll all Airbnb together, and like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., okay, the makeup artist will start the makeup for the bride. So it's normally like touchdown, take the car in Santorini. Now we are talking Santorini. Touchdown, take the car, go to the resort, have dinner, take some night shoots, then try to rest for the night. And that's about like 10, 11, okay, and you still have to unpack and stuff. And the bride will probably start makeup at about 3, okay, or even 4, okay, then we'll start makeup, then the boys will be sleeping, that including me, okay, then we'll probably head out for shoot first light. Okay, so first light is probably like 7. Okay, yeah, that's just a rough gauge lah. Then it will be a shoot in Santorini. We'll shoot like 3-4 hours until when the sun gets a bit too high. We'll come back for break, eat lunch. We will rest for a while. Maybe at 3 p.m. again, we continue with the makeup, touch up, or fresh look, anything, whatever your package is with the makeup artist. Then we'll go out for a shoot again, the evening shoot again. Okay, so it's all the photos that you see online that are like, wow, so nice, like, wow, my friend went overseas for her pre-wedding or his pre-wedding. Oh my gosh, it looks so amazing. Yeah, trust me, all these photos have like, it's very daunting to even think about like all the logistics nightmare, right? And like all the physical, um, 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 physical, how to say, like, yeah, you just have to be physically prepared and mentally prepared to go through a lot to achieve your dream wedding photo shoot. Okay, so okay, just that is done. Okay, so just think about also like maybe even Iceland. Okay, let's just go to Iceland for a while. So if you just think about Iceland, like a very drastic what you call that, comparison. Okay, in Japan you can shoot like any time of the day, like because it's nearer to the equator than Iceland, right? Then yeah, so if you think about Iceland, there's midnight sun and there's also like winter, right? So the winter you only see about 4-5 hours of sunlight, if I'm not wrong. Okay, don't quote me on this, okay, but if my memory didn't fail me, it's about 4 hours of sunlight in winter time. If you want those kind of aurora night sky shots, fine, you're in luck for sure, okay, because you get like 20 hours of dark sky, okay, and the chances of aurora or the northern lights happening is so much higher, and even more so in winter. But yeah, you just have to be very, very mindful that that 4 hour window, if let's say the sun rises at like 11 and you only have up to 3 p.m. to shoot like any kind of day shots, yeah, the window is so short. Are you ready to give up on that? Okay, and on the opposite end, if you go during like summer solstice and all, right, where the what do you call that? Sorry, midnight sun. That's the word. Yeah, midnight sun. That will screw up your body clock a lot because the midnight sun is up. The sun is up like 21, 22, 23 hours even a day. Okay, and there's no night sky, like zero, zilch. Okay, no night sky. The sun will probably just dip below the horizon for 2 hours or so. Okay, again, don't quote me on this. Then it will come back up again. Okay, but those are the best light for taking your romantic kind of ethereal feel kind of pre-wedding photo. So that's also something very good to consider lah, if you're ever considering Iceland. Yeah, so these kind of things just have to do a bit more research on like which season you want to go. And if let's say if let's say you're a teacher, okay, and let's say you can only apply leave during a certain time of the year, okay, then you can only go in like, you really want Iceland and you can only go in December, let's say, okay, and December, winter, the 4 hour window, it rained. Okay, then how? You have to work this out with your photographer. What happens if weather doesn't work out? Okay, for me, it's still always a go ahead because we have all committed to going there. Already agree we will meet the couple beforehand, or I will meet my couple beforehand, before we even fly there, just to sit down, have a meal, chat about things, just to get to know each other, just to make sure that we are all on the same page before we fly. Okay, I did a shoot in New Zealand again, okay, because I travel in New Zealand quite a bit, and I've done quite a number of shoots in New Zealand. I remember this couple, I shot them there. I think throughout our 3 days of shoot, it was raining throughout, and that was just because it was in between season. So in between season always have the worst climate. So it was raining throughout, and what did we do? Yeah, I mean, honestly, we were all a bit dejected. Makeup artist was beside me in the car. The couple was in another car. We stopped at the roadside. We were already at that location. We were at Mount Cook, right? And we were just thinking about like, okay, I told them like, guys, we could continue driving, okay, to the next town where our original plan was headed, or we could just go out, brave the rain, do it here. And because the makeup artist is here, don't worry about your makeup, okay? This is the beauty of having a makeup artist, like a Singapore makeup artist as compared to a local makeup artist, okay? Just because Singapore makeup artists you hire over, yeah, they have no choice, they're stuck with you, right? So they will package everything together accordingly. But if you go over, like you hire a local makeup artist, then the makeup artist will think about like, oh, do I really want to follow like these guys throughout? Like it's gonna be like a whole day and I'll end up in another town. How am I gonna find my own transport back, right? So how much extra should I charge them? So if let's say in terms of New Zealand, I will highly recommend to hire a Singapore makeup artist to fly him or her over, and we'll just all go over and have fun together. So just because also again, one of another couple in New Zealand has hired a local makeup artist, didn't come out very well just because our skin is slightly more yellowish, actually a lot more yellowish, right? So it is, they I would, yeah, I mean, like, they probably wouldn't know how to doll up an Asian face in that sense. Sorry, I cannot really think of like a better phrase. Yeah, but if I'm sure you know what I mean. Okay, so that's one thing to consider. Yeah, so during that shoot, rain, like it continuously rained. So makeup artist was there, fine, no worries at all. We go out, we got wet. Okay, my camera was drenched, I was drenched, makeup artist was drenched, a couple was drenched. Even a makeup artist got out of the car in the umbrella, just sheltering me, and yeah, it was just so memorable. After that, we went back to the car, we were all drenched. We were like, oh my gosh, guys, like that was so fun. Like really, that was so fun. It's something that I would do again, just because it's something that not many couples are up for, and we will just do it lor. Yeah lor. So these are the kind of memory shoots that will be the best, okay, because it gives you so much to take home. Yeah, then let's okay, since we are on the topic of New Zealand, okay, do understand their culture also. They are very protective of their locals, definitely. So if you hire like a photographer like us to go over to take your pre-wedding photos, sorry, then authorities in New Zealand will be thinking, are our photographers worse than your photographer? No, I don't think so. So why are you having your own photographer? This is why if you go to New Zealand or Australia, and I'm sure many of the other countries too, please do please do get your photographer to apply for the right visa, okay? This visa always incur additional cost. The last I know for New Zealand was an additional $400 for this visa. It basically gives your photographer right to shoot you over there, because technically your photographer, your videographer, your makeup artist is heading over there to their country for work. Okay, so they require the appropriate visa. So this is something to consider. New Zealand, Australia is very strict on this. I wouldn't please don't ever try to save on this, and this is usually not included in the package. Okay, so just check with your photographer on this. Okay, so permit, yeah. Okay, so since again we're on New Zealand, right? Okay, let me run you through like a whole New Zealand experience of a pre-wedding. Okay, yeah, just think about this. Simple. Okay, we will say we'll take the flight, and we will normally land in New Zealand at Christchurch Airport at say about 3 or 4 p.m. We usually take that flight, and once we touch down, we will immediately rent a car. Okay, so the car is already booked and all. We land, we take the car, we drive about 3 hours to the next town, which is like Lake Tekapo. Lake Tekapo is where we'll start our evening shoot already. So we land at 3, the sunset is about 7:30 or 8. So it's a straight drive out. It's very tiring, okay guys. So my advice to you is always to touch down, rest for the night in like wherever you are before you head out for a long drive. In this case, let's think about just New Zealand. Touchdown in Christchurch, stay one night in Christchurch, next day, early morning, head out towards wherever you want to go. Okay, so for me, it will always be towards Lake Tekapo. Okay, I wouldn't say always, just because more often than not, couples will come to us not knowing where to go, so we'll kind of discuss where to go first and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, do always plan where you want to go, and if there are landmarks that you want to shoot at, please let your photographers know also. Okay, yeah, so drive straight 3 hours. We'll reach there, we'll have dinner, we'll immediately shoot the night sky. If the sky is clear, then you'll get a Milky Way and all, and you get a night sky, which is so inspiring. It's like, it makes you feel so small just because you look up and it's like blanket of stars. And fun fact, I was working there in like Lake Tekapo as a astrophotographer for a year plus. We are like before COVID struck and I had to come back. Okay, so yeah, I mean, New Zealand is very close to my heart. Okay, yeah, and again, we'll normally head back to like the Airbnb. We'll all rest at about 11 plus 12. Okay, then at 3 a.m. the bride will wake up to do the makeup. Okay, we'll wake up to do the makeup, and by like 6:30 we'll all be out for sunrise shoot. So normally, yeah, I think more often than not, I will always get the grooms waking up and like cooking breakfast for everyone, and it's just like quite funny because sometimes the bride will say things like, "Wow, I never see him cook before one eh. Wow, he's really cooking for you all, and you're damn honored eh." Like, yeah, also, yeah. It's more like a friend's outing ultimately, right? Like I've mentioned before. So yeah, we'll head out for a shoot, check out of the Airbnb, then we'll go have breakfast, then we will drive to the next town. Okay, do some touch up, continue shooting. Even if it's midday sun, we'll continue shooting also, just because New Zealand is so big, right? Then we'll drive to Wanaka, shoot at Wanaka. When we're done with Wanaka, we'll end off the day in Queenstown. Okay, so we'll continue driving. So that's about another 4 hours of drive. Okay, from Lake Tekapo all the way to Queenstown. Okay, and Lake Tekapo to Wanaka, you will stop by probably Mount Cook. Okay, and not everyone wants to shoot there, but if you ever want to shoot there, you can also consider a glacier flight, where you can pay extra to take the helicopter out, or rather the plane up into the valley of snow, and you can just shoot there. It's so amazing. And you can just, oh yeah, it's a helicopter, sorry, it's a helicopter. So yeah, you can, that's also something to consider. All these are optional items, and there's also horseback riding in New Zealand that you can consider. So many of my couples will either will take at least one of like either the helicopter or the horseback riding. Okay, then we'll head off towards Wanaka, finish up Wanaka, have lunch there, then head off to Queenstown. And Queenstown, it will just be continue shooting again all the way until like 12 a.m. Just because we'll find a we'll head out to like the lesser polluted, light polluted places, and we'll shoot the night skies again. Of course, all these are weather permitting, so yeah, just to keep that in mind. Yeah, so as you can tell, it's like a full day of shoot with very little breaks in between. And the breaks are usually when the bride will be the one sleeping in the car. Okay, so normally when I drive, the makeup artist will be beside me sleeping also. So yeah, it's actually a very normal scene. Okay, yeah, and as us photographers, we don't normally sleep. But if you do enjoy driving, then I'm sure you will not think of it as a tiring task, or even as a task. You will just think of it as pure enjoyment. So for people like me who truly enjoy driving, and just driving like the scenic routes and all, right, then you're like, wow, every time you make like, wow, like Mount Cook, like wait, then I turn this side, it's another side of Mount Cook. So yeah, it's just something to enjoy also. Yeah, but for brides, you can always rest in the car. So more often than not, in fact, I think like 99% of the time, the grooms will be the one driving. Yeah, and also in dresses, it's a bit more difficult for the brides to drive also. Okay, so yeah, that's something to consider also. Yeah, and also think about this, like food. How are you gonna split the food? Do you want your photographer, your makeup artist to pay for their own food? If you would much prefer that, please do let them know beforehand, okay? Um, yeah, I mean, if you don't mind like treating your photographer and your makeup artists and your videographers to meals, then yeah, just do extend this to them also. What else is there? Let me think. Okay. Yeah, so basically, okay, I'm sure there are a lot of other things that I've missed, okay, but basically, planning an overseas pre-wedding is never easy, and it shouldn't be easy, because if it's easy, there is already something wrong, okay. But my advice and my huge tip to you, like tip, right, is to always approach an overseas pre-wedding with an open heart, okay, with an open mindset in that sense, because you never know what will happen, and there's so many things that could go wrong, so many variables that you would never expect. Car breaking down, the weather is not in your favor, getting into accident, although none of us will wish for that, right? Getting chased out of places, um of places. And sorry, just a quick thing, getting chased out of places could be because you have never applied for prior approval, or you have never applied for permit, or you didn't know that that place needs to pay to use, okay. So if let's say you go to the Louvre, okay, the in to shoot, okay, or you go to any other museums, I am 100% confident that you will have to write in to seek for prior approval, and some of them do actually charge for photo shoots. So all these kind of things, you will have to ask your photographer, and obviously your photographer will not know everything. So to be safe, just write in. If let's say I want to shoot at this historic place, okay, just write into them and say, oh hey, we'll be visiting from Singapore, we'll be having our wedding shoot there. Do you think you could allow us to use this place between like this timing to this timing for the shoot, okay, and see how they reply and take it from there, okay. So yeah, just always remember to be courteous, okay, and just respect their cultures and whatever rules and regulations they have in place, okay. What else? Okay. Yeah, just always expect things to go wrong. There will always be something that will go wrong. Could be a wardrobe malfunction, or as simple as luggage going missing. Okay. Yeah, I know there's such is maybe something that y'all will think like, huh, luggage going missing, really? Yeah, it happened to me. It happened to me, okay. Again, no, this was in London, okay. Went to London for an overseas pre-wedding. Luggage was routed over to some other European city. I cannot remember which one. Took 2 days to get back to me. In these 2 days, I had no change of clothes, so I had to go and scramble and buy everything, and I had like money in my luggage also, so I didn't have much money on my with me, right? But luckily cards. But yeah, so also, yeah, do check whether cards are widely acceptable in the place that you're visiting, okay. Because like places like the European cities, right, yeah, both cards and cash, um it's widely acceptable. But in I could think of like New Zealand, card is king, okay. And places like Santorini, cash is king. So yeah, just this kind of things, you just do your own research. And yeah, let me think if there's any important things that I miss. I don't think so, but yeah, just have to, yeah, okay, just decide when you want to go, which country you want to go. Go and talk to your photographer, and just make sure you can connect with your photographer. And I feel that's the most important. Connecting with the person who is shooting you, be it a photographer or a videographer, is the most important one. That will ensure a successful trip, a successful shoot. Okay, I think that's that. Oh my gosh, I have no idea how long this video is already. But I do hope you have found this whole video insightful, or at least helpful. Okay. I am also heading to Vancouver for a pre-wedding in August, and that's very exciting. Everything has been booked already. It is my first time to Vancouver. Couple is gonna bring me there. Couple seems to know the place very well, so I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but I'm super excited to be flying again. Okay, hopefully before that, I can head back to New Zealand in May. Okay, yeah, and if that ever happens, I'm definitely bring couples there for pre-wedding also. Okay, so with that said, thank you all for your time, and if you have stuck to the end of this video, thank you so much. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask me again. Okay, you can reach out to me. Anywhere, okay, but I'll probably respond to you faster on Instagram at LightedPixel Pixies. Okay, so once again, I'm Marklin, and I thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day, and yeah, I'll see you somewhere else. Bye.